guys, DoorDash here, and I'm coming to you today with a message. Or I guess I shouldn't say a message. I'm coming to you with a key to success. We know it's the beginning of the year. These are some of our most challenging months. So I think it's a time that all of us have to look to say, hey, what are the keys to success? What's the way to be successful? And what are the things we can do to try to be more successful? And when slow times come, there's several things I think you should do, and I've always done when I was in working in a different field. There's always ups and downs, slow times and fast times. But during the slow times, it's always good to use those times to improve yourself in some way. Um, and there's various different things that you can do and try to reflect. However, whether it's slow times, whether it's fast times, there is one thing that you should be doing that if you do this, if you make this one change, and you do this every single day and you take this approach every single day, you will continue to grow and you will continue to be successful. And it's going to be the key to making 2023 better than 2022. If you want different results, you got to do different things. And that is a key that many people forget. Many people get caught up. They get caught up in negativity. They get caught up in believing that nothing can change and nothing can be different. So, what I'm going to suggest to each and every one of you, it's something I do every single day, and it's the way I continue to motivate myself, even on a bad day. And right now, it's slower, so there's going to be potentially more bad days than good, especially if you're not doing this yet, especially if your approach is doing the same things that you aren't liking the results for. And that is this: every single day, when you get done, evaluate your day. Have a metric. Okay, so hopefully we've talked about that a lot on this channel. If you haven't, look back at some of my old videos, but you got to have a goal of some sort every single day. You've got to have a judging metric that you can judge your day by. So whatever that is, let's say it's to make $100. So say you go out, you work however long you work, and you only make $50 for today. Can be very frustrating. You can be looking at it and you can be saying, "Man, this really stinks. This is terrible. I can't do this anymore." Or I did everything I could possibly do. Well, you didn't. So, what's the approach next time? What's the way you're going to motivate yourself? Um, and the way you can do that, the way you should do that is you've got to have the ability to review and take a moment every day. I do this every single day, and I do it at the end of my day, and I do it at the beginning of the next day. And it's linked together. The first thing I do is at the end of every day, I look back and I think of the things that went right. There's always something that went right. Think about the things that I went right and the things I want to do again tomorrow that went my way. And then I think of the things that didn't go right. And then I think about the things that led up to them, and I think about at least one thing. And normally I have more than one, but at least one thing I'm going to focus on changing and doing differently the next day when I go back out. And it is that I get myself excited about. So I'll figure that out, whatever it might be. Maybe it's I'm going to try to uh, take orders instead of being at a $6 minimum, I might lower it to five and say, let me make that change tomorrow. Let me get behind it. Let me get positive with it, and let me see if it makes a difference. And that's what I'm going to get fired up about. I'm not going to get fired up about, hey, tomorrow I'm going to go out. I'm going to be thinking I want to make money, I want to make money, but I'm going to use that as motivation. I'm not going to think about all the things that went wrong and start thinking negative and thinking things like, well, I hope it doesn't go as bad as it was yesterday. Because if you start thinking negative, right, you're going to get negative outcomes. You're going to attract negative energy, negative vibes, negative things. So you got to think positive. So you start putting that plan together and focusing on that, getting your excitement around that change you're going to make and seeing how it's going to go. And then the next day, when I wake up, okay, and normally I'll kind of keep notes in my phone. In the notes app on my phone. You can do it however you want. Maybe some of you like to write it down, but I'll have my goal for the next, this is what my goal is when I go out. So the next morning when I get up and I'm doing my numbers and I'm getting my sheets ready and I'm getting everything going, And I will then review with myself, what did I do? What are the things I want to do? And I'll have my list. These are the things I want to replicate today. And then this is the one, two, or three things that I'm going to focus on doing differently today. And I'm going to focus on doing that. I'm going to make these changes and I'm going to get excited about it and say, hey, let's see what the different results are. And I'm going to go out and then I'm going to see what happens. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to redo that exact same process every single day and always changing and making a change for any outcome that I don't like. If I have something I like, even if I have something I like, maybe I make $150 and I wanted to make 100 today, or I double it and make 200. I will always start thinking, is there something that happened that I didn't like? Is there an interaction? Is there a restaurant I'm going to try to, to do something differently? But I'm always trying to think, if there's an outcome I didn't like, and some days I might come and say, hey, you know what? Everything went great today. So I take it to the list and I say, well, what were things that went into today that made today great? And I will continue going down that list and saying, these are the things I want to do today. But I remind myself every day what I want to do positively, right? What do I want to do that worked out positively? What's my goal? What's my strategy? And what's my approach? And anytime I have something happen in my path, and I do this personally and in business, but for us, I'm talking to you as a business person to business person. Figure out, do not be afraid. Many people are held back because you are afraid to confront what you didn't do well. The first thing you have to do is you have to acknowledge that you didn't get an outcome that you liked. And then you have to acknowledge what your role was. What were the things you had control of that led up to that outcome? And then you have to go change the things that you can change and get excited about that opportunity to change that. Because anytime you have something that doesn't work out, anytime you have a day that goes bad, you have a day that doesn't turn out the way you want it to go, um, there are variables that you had no control over. And those are the things you can't worry about. Those are the things that you just understand it that those were out of your control. And therefore, if that's what caused your day to be bad, well, then leave them there. But there's always something you could have controlled, whether it was an order you accepted that took you out of market for an hour and a half, and that may have killed your night. Whatever it is, you're going to look back, figure out what was within your control that you could change and do differently tomorrow. Figure that out, note it, spend some time brainstorming on your strategy and what you're going to do to change your routine, change your habit, change whatever you're doing, and then positively focus on that change you're going to make. Get excited about it, get fired up about it, think of it. Think of it before you go to bed, right before you go to sleep. Think about what you're going to do. When you get up in the morning, think about that change. Continue building that excitement. Head out, go out, be positive, go make that change and look for a better result. And if you get a better result and by making that change, now it goes in your positive category. Keep doing it until something goes wrong or until something shows up again that you need to change, and then don't be afraid to make the change. Do this process every single day. And if you do that, you will be constantly positively changing and you will be constantly positively galloping in the direction of becoming successful and making your goals a success. So, look, this is just something that, again, it's about mindset. But the most important thing, especially when it comes to something like gig work, which is all self reliant, is you've got to be willing to look at and acknowledge when you have something that doesn't work out. Don't run from it. Don't deny it. Don't make excuses. Just embrace it and understand that every time or use the word failure, every time you're unsuccessful, it's not a failure. In fact, and it's actually an opportunity because it's an opportunity to make a change and be successful tomorrow. I try to instill this in my kids. I try to instill this in anybody that's in my family members, friends, whatever, whenever I'm having conversations with them. I never call a bad day a failure. I mean, I use that word and probably shouldn't. It's an opportunity, right? So you look at your successes and your opportunities, and that's how you should do it. And in fact, what I title my opportunities, when I'm looking at it, I have a sheet that, or my note, and it's today's opportunities. When I left today or finished today, what were the opportunities I left on the table? These are the things I want to change. These are the things I need to do differently. And what are the things that were successful? These are the things I want to repeat and continue doing. And sometimes, even in successes, are opportunities to even improve on the successful things you did. Sometimes you can find something that you could change and think, well, if I change this, would it make me more successful? But it's important you pay attention to these things. It's important you're always looking at these things, and it's important you're always going through this process in your head. If you follow this process, you will continue to evolve, you will continue to improve, and you will continue to get better results. Beginning of the year is a great time to make these changes, great time to start changing your thinking, and a great time to say, hey, look, this is what I got to do. And here's the thing. If you're listening to this and you say, nah, that's not for me. No, I'd rather live in the negative. I'd rather just continue to make excuses, continue to, then you know what? I can tell you this right now. Being a gig business operator, working within the gig world, working within the gig community, it's not for you. So don't be afraid to exit and leave and acknowledge that. In fact, that's an opportunity for you. So that's something that you need to really consider and think about, because if you're not willing to open yourself up to this line of thinking and do these type of things, you're going to have a real hard time, I believe, because this is the key. This is the key. This is the secret, so to speak, to being successful uh, in this type of work, in this type of environment, in this type of atmosphere. Guys, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you appreciate what I'm saying. And if you do and you like it, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. And guys, as always, stay profitable, stay safe, and of course, I will talk to you soon.